Hi there, I'm Marc Pagani, and this is Tasting Tuesdays. Welcome to our 100th episode of, what's that? Oh, I'm being told by my dog, who is also my producer, that it's actually our 7th episode. Feels like 100. But today, we're going to be looking at a really tasty whiskey. I've tasted it before, and I gotta say, it's yummy. Redbreast 21-year Irish whiskey. We did some Scotch last week, and then the first 5 weeks we did American whiskey. So I figured it's time to allow the Irish to represent themselves as well. I first had Redbreast, gosh, many years ago. The 12-year I had. And then I got turned on to the 15-year, and that was my favorite Irish whiskey for quite a while. And I'd always wanted to try the 21, but it's always like 40, 50 bucks a pour or more at most bars, so I never tried it. And then I was in Detroit in 2017, and this bar, I should know the name of it, sorry. This bar had it for 16 bucks a pour, for a 2-ounce pour of 21. So I tried it and fell in love with it, really tasty. But I gotta say, I don't know, I think the 15 is, gosh, somewhere around 100 bucks, 90 bucks, maybe 110. I can't remember exactly what the cost of the 15-year is, but the 21-year ends up selling for closer to anywhere between $200 and $300, depending on where you buy it. I actually got a nice deal on this one, bought it directly from Europe for 140 bucks. But my point is, I don't know that the 21-year is worth the, at least, double the cost, usually more than double the cost of the 15-year. That said, I do love it, and I want to talk to you about it. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do, right down here. And if you want to skip right ahead to the tasting, you can do so right here at this point in the video. And if you want to stick around and check out some information about Redbreast 21-year Irish whiskey, that's going to happen right now. Using a style of pot still whiskey reflective of the Midleton Distillery tradition, Redbreast 21 represents the ultimate expression of Redbreast single pot still Irish whiskey. It's matured in a combination of sherry casks and bourbon barrels, and it is non-chill filtered. It's produced in very limited quantities, and this bottle came in at 92 proof. Whisky Advocate gave it a 96 out of 100. Jim Murray ranked it his #2 whiskey in the world, and it received the second perfect score in the Ultimate Beverage Competition. Here are the origins of the Redbreast name. W&A Gilbey was founded in 1857 as a gin distillery based in Dublin. Gilbey's sourced distillates held on bond from various Dublin-based distilleries. John Jameson and Sons Castle J.J. Liqueur whiskey, 12 years old, that's a long name, was sold starting in 1903, which was likely the forerunner of Redbreast. The first official use of the Redbreast name did not occur until 1912, though, when it was used as a nickname from the then Gilbey's chairman, who was an enthusiastic birdwatcher. All right, and now that you know a little bit more about Redbreast's 21-year offering, it is time for Whiskey Poured. Yeah. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Boo-doo, bow, chicka, bow, bow. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Bow, 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 chicka, bow, bow. Yeah, bow, chicka, bow, bow. Oh, yeah, bow, chicka, bow, bow. Bow, 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 chicka, bow, bow. Boo-doo, bow, chicka, bow, bow. Who knew Irish whiskey pouring could be so hot? I sure didn't. I think it's time for us to actually taste it. It comes in this fancy box. Redbreast single pot still Irish whiskey, aged 21 years. Considered the definitive expression of single pot still Irish whiskey, Redbreast 21 is complex, balanced, and full-bodied. We'll see if that's true. I think it probably is. Here's the bottle. And let's do a pour. All right. So, on the nose, it's rich. There's some brown sugar, definitely some vanilla. It actually reminds me quite a bit of a well-aged bourbon. There's a touch, very, very of the nose is a touch of acetone, but just a tiny bit. Definitely some oak and some butter, like straight up salted butter. All right, let's taste it. Well, first off, very mouth coating, very full, very rich, as you would assume that a 21-year-old whiskey would be, if it's done right. It hits the top palate and then the tongue quite a bit. It doesn't really go all the way around so much, but it's definitely just it's there. It's really present. Let me taste it again. Yeah, more of that brown sugar, a little bit of spice, and at the very end there's a little bit of like tart cherry, tart apple. So there's some fruity thing going on too, combined with a lot of oak, which is what you're going to have with a whiskey that's been sitting in a barrel for 21 years. Really going to pull that oak out. So let's talk about the finish real quick. Lingering, definitely. It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. It's like one of those that's going to last for a good full minute, which I love. I love a good long finish. There's not a lot else to say about it, though. It's not complex. You know, it's which is also kind of indicative of an older whiskey. Sometimes they do lose their complexity after they've been in the barrel for a long time. My sweet spot for bourbon, for instance, is around 13 to 15 years. Because Ireland is obviously a different climate than Kentucky, for instance, the liquid's going to go in and out of the wood a little bit less because it doesn't get as hot, it doesn't get as cold as Kentucky does. So I feel like a 21 year is in Ireland is similar to a 15, 16 year in Kentucky, for instance. So I can't say a ton about the finish. It's not super complex. Overall, the whiskey is not super complex. If you're looking for something that's like super spicy and weird and funky, that's not going to be this. But if you're looking for something that's rich, full, mouth coating, kind of classic Irish whiskey flavors, I hate using the word smooth, but you know, it is a 21-year whiskey. It is smooth. It goes down very nicely. It's relatively low proof. Again, I think the 15 is a better value. The 15-year Redbreast is a better value. But if you find this at a reasonable price, it's lovely. And if you can find it just at a bar for a reasonable price, just for $20 a pour for 2 ounces, it's a pretty reasonable price for this. And if you can find it, taste it, see what you think, and then go out and buy yourself a bottle if you like it. Thanks so much for checking out the 7th episode of, what is this called? Oh yeah, Tasting Tuesdays. And I'll see you next week.